Hello viewers, this is Monica Bachchan. You are watching Meteorologic PMS YouTube channel, and today we have Mr. R.K. Sharma. Mr. R.K. Sharma does not need any introduction. We all know him. He joined Federation of Indian Mineral Industries as secretary in the year 1969 and has been working as a secretary general since April 1989. We would like to welcome Mr. R.K. Sharma. So, Mr. Sharma, we would like to know what is the share of Indian mining to GDP?
1.63, excluding petroleum and chemicals.
Okay, so this includes ferrous and non-ferrous minerals.
Ferrous, non-ferrous, coal, and lignite.
Okay. And Mr. Sharma, what is the current mining potential of our country and where for you foresee in next 10 to 12 years?
Which we consider more than even 100%. I don't consider a great future for mining in India. And I personally feel, for example, let us say iron ore, which is talked all over in this country. Iron ore is a raw material for steel industry. Steel is a raw material for downstream products. If iron ore is costly because of auction and other factors, the cost of steel will go up. If the cost of steel goes up, the cost of downstream products goes up. Many of the downstream products are exported worldwide. Our exports will suffer because the products will go up very much. So we become the very high cost economy, and therefore, unless the taxation regime is rationalized, I don't consider a great future for mining.
Sir, royalty rates are uniform across all grades. Is it correct?
No, uniform rate for all minerals differ. They are on ad valorem basis. They differ from mineral to mineral. For example, I know they are 15% on all grades. Like that, they are different in different. For example, bauxite price is linked to LME price. So they are different for different minerals.
And so stamp duty calculations are not uniform and states have their own independent ways of calculation and of course collection. Do you agree with the process?
No, there is no question of agreeing, not agreeing. Every state has got its own stamp duty act, and they levy the stamp duty based on what is provided in the state stamp duty act. This is a state subject. So yes, we have been writing on the high stamp duty to various state governments, but every state has got a different. There is no central act.
So don't you think every state should have one stamp duty as a common as a nation, or it's okay to have stamp duties?
No, for that you have to change the constitution. That will require the change in the constitution. So let the government change the constitution. We are in for uniform stamp duty.
Said district mineral fund collection and expenditure, is it justified or would you like to propose an alternate mechanism?
Nowhere in the world district mineral fund is imposed. India is typical to impose district mineral fund. And they don't, having collected, till April 2020, they have collected 38,277 crores. And they have spent barely 14,741 crores.
Oh, that's something.
And there is a rumor that the fund goes for purpose other than the area development for the people who are affected by mining. And now for the corona also they are talking of utilize this DMF. The DMF is going for the purpose it is not meant for, and the mining industry is taxed. The cost of minerals goes up. Ultimately, attached to the price of the product.
So what do you think DMF fund where they can utilize and why the government is not utilizing it properly?
See, DMF, there are proper rules and guidelines where it has to be utilized. There are laws. But why? That is what happens in this country. The things are not utilized for the purpose they are utilized. For example, there is a Kempa fund for the development of the mineral resources. The government has collected as per directions of a huge amount of Kempa funds, but states are not utilizing that for the development of forest. Same way, the government collects fund, but does not utilize for the purpose it is collected. Rumors are many times DMF funds are utilized for the toilet of the district magistrate, district collector. So this misutilization of funds are there. How to squeeze the industry is how the mining is suffering from.
So I think the states which are having mines, they are quite rich in having DMF funds. And those are the states which are quite, you know, having a backward kind of state right now. As in, if we look at the development at the state level for tribals or the mining area or the forest or environment. Is there any guidelines how DMF fund has to be utilized in the state?
Yes, there are guidelines. There is a local level committee also where the collector is there. I think member of parliament is a member of state assembly and parliament and other people are there. Why are not they functioning? Because again, it depends on the district collector. When you call the meeting, when you spend, how you supervise. Where this country doesn't have any, system.
So inverted GST on iron ore, licensing service, exploration and evacuation are classified as services and taxes at the rate of 18%, while the output, which is mined ore, classified as goods with 5% of GST.
Product.
So what is your take on GST?
We have been representing. See, we have been representing how the amount of data which FIMI has got. I don't think anybody has got that level of data. And whenever we represent to the government, we represent with full data and figures. But it is for the government to accept, not to accept. But as far as we are concerned, we have fed the government, this is not correct. The industry is highly taxed. But it is for the government to accept.
So what kind of steps FIMI as an association are taking for the uniform tax on mining from the government?
We have been taking at all level. I think every week we send a representation with new facts and figures. But today's time, because of this corona business, with the funds squeezing, so I don't think the government will even look at our representation. Today's time is to how to ramp up the production and to provide jobs and to create taxes for the government. So we don't expect anything now from the government for at least 6 months till the things stabilize. Let us wait, let the government come, let the things come normal, then probably things will move.
Sir, do you believe the investment in this sector is severely hampered due to such high taxation?
See, again, I come back to the same thing. We have got GSI in this country. As I told you, investment comes for the three reasons. And when we talk of mining industry in the country, we only talk iron ore, bauxite, limestone, dolomite, all these minerals. They are available all over the world. 5% of the earth's crust up to a continental depth of 75% is nothing but Fe2O3. 8% of the earth's crust is nothing but aluminum, Al2O3. We are only concentrating here. We are not concentrating on the minerals or metals which we import, like diamond, gold, base metals, platinum group of minerals. India was the sole supplier of diamond to the world till 1725 when it was discovered in Brazil. Then it came to South Africa in 1860. Today we import almost 85% of the diamond produced in the world. First and second grade go only to for cutting and polishing to New York, Tel Aviv, Antwerp, and now Thailand. Second, third grade diamond come which we cut and polish and re-export. We are the largest importer of gold in the world. Probably now China is there. People say, geologists say we have got all these minerals. But where are they? If you don't have the technology, you import the technology and investment. And that is what we tried. When Tandon Committee report was set up, 97, the act was changed in 1999. Every foreign company was in this country. Then probably that was not sufficient. Another committee was constituted, Huda Committee. Huda Committee gave the report. Based on that, they changed the national mineral policy in 2008. Act was not changed. Suddenly in January 2015, Act is changed and we come to auction regime. Every person, there are 500 companies, and this change in the Act in 2015 protected the companies for RP, PL, and ML, RP and PL. If they are done RP and PL, they will get the mining lease. There are 500 companies. Now, government has done nothing. 5 years have passed. Now there is a rumor that they will lapse. Now, with this sort of thing, who will come to this country?
Absolutely.
We have got GSI for the last 175 years. Only 10% of the country has been properly explored. We have got a stable political regime, but we have got a unstable legislation. We have got a taxation regime, corporate tax, but we have got a highly taxed regime in the mining sector. We have got National Mineral Exploration Corporation in this country. They have done 150 explorations. They lack credibility. None of them have been sold. Today, if you see the Fraser report, India does not figure in the countries for attracting exploration for the last 2 years. Last 3 years. Now, with this sort of background, in 2019, this country did not spend a single rupee on exploration.
So I believe lot of people consider exploration as an expense also.
Lot of people consider
exploration as an expense, not as an opportunity.
Expenditure, yes. So, all over the world, they are the companies who get this license on first come first served basis. If they explore, 1 out of 100 exploration succeeds. 1 out of 100. 99 are lost. And if one succeeds, one world-class expenditure, they come for prospecting license, mining lease. It is seamless. In this country, that is not so. Who will come to spend money? If they are not sure of this seamless transfer to mining companies, then you can't sell them, you can't transfer them. Exploration company job is to explore, then they sell it to the mining company. Here you can't do.
So coming back to taxes,
nobody will come to explore in this country. Rather Indian, you have seen this small booklet I gave you. Indian investment is going abroad rather than the foreign investment coming to this country.
Absolutely, absolutely. So coming back to the taxes, high taxes coupled with high logistic cost. Another reason why steel mills resort to import of various minerals. As in, we have been seeing cases that the steel companies have been importing a lot of raw material. Is this the taxation and the logistic cost, together, I think makes it a very high cost and unbearable for the companies.
See, only JSW is importing iron ore, that's all. Tata is importing for some product for some time back. And the cost, of course, JSW, now they have got the mines also. They are operating 6-7 mines because the production in Karnataka was not sufficient to meet their requirements. So they imported some quantity. Many times JSW does the thing just to harass the mine owners. Despite the ore being available, they will still import. They will still import just, to see that they reduce the price. Now they have got 72% of the resources auctioned in Odisha, iron ore. But the logistic cost will be very high for them. But they grabbed 72% of the resources auctioned in Odisha. So only one company is doing this.
So I have last question for you. The high premiums and rising cost of iron ore for the newly auctioned mine, is it the interest of the nation? Is it in the interest?
No. Auction is not the correct policy for the resource development. Those 3 booklets which I sent you, they bring out very clearly through facts and figures. Auction is not the correct policy to do it. I have also mentioned what are the various provisions available in the world in various countries. In various countries of the world. With auction regime, I have been saying this thing to the government at the top of my voice, and I'm the only man who has not surrendered. That auction is not the correct policy. This will not lead to resource development. This will not lead to the development of the minerals which we require, like diamond, gold, base metals. We are using only lead and zinc. In rest we import platinum group of minerals, then rare earth minerals, rare earth elements, which again we actually depend on China. So unless you have the concept of first come first serve, where there is no discretion involved, involve the companies who are expert in the various fields, give them the freedom to explore and then to seamlessly go to prospecting license and mining lease. If they want to transfer their lease, their prospecting license to mining lease, let them sell it. I give you one instance. For example, this Kents, this Rajasthan oil company, it was a junior exploration company. It found out the oil where Burma Shell and ONGC has failed earlier. But the Kents found out the oil at that very particular point. They wanted to sell that product to ONGC. They required certain money for selling that product. I think some people say $500 million. ONGC did not agree. So by force, they had to enter into mining of oil, which they have sold now to Vedanta. So these companies are the companies which are expert in their field. Involve them. Because everybody you talk to says India is geologically very rich. But where is that richness? Unless you explore, there is no richness. My country's main problem is lack of exploration. GSI, which had a name at a particular point of time, no longer heard anywhere. What are they doing? NMET, this MECL, they do exploration, promotional exploration, but they lack the credibility. Not a single report is sold. Nobody is, and I'm the man who point out as bluntly as I'm talking to you now. Just a while away, look to the other side, that's all.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Sharma sir, for the lovely interview and talking to us.
Thank you.
And we will
Thank you
surely
very much.
bring up these issues to the people and to the concerned departments.
ठीक, thank you.